state of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, Dude here yet again. An iteration of Dude After Dark, and I am positively dragging tail feathers. So if you give me your lead, as it were, I'm going to try to scrape this together and kind of try to make it work. Case in point, I'm now doing that. Okay, let me make sure that's the old new laptop is now going to be a monitor, as it were. I'll be able to look at larger bits and pieces of the chat room, good stuff like that there, and I will be able to see and read commentary. So anyway, good stuff like that there. Hopefully you guys are having a decent evening so far. Already I got somebody signing in. That's always cool. Zach, appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Good stuff like that there. I am looking now into doing a better setup. Hang on a second, let me try to scrabble this thing together here. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a crap-a-lanch, hopefully not too terrible much. Anyway, I wouldn't say old, but the newer, the S9 FE Plus, it does work. I mean, it's actually a pretty capable unit, but there is several schemes of things that they have on Samsung devices. They have the S, which is usually, the high line, the better constructed. Obviously, it's got the metal chassis. You have the A, which is going to be the cheaper constructed one, slower processor, usually not as good a display item. And the biggest thing I'm looking at now is, unfortunately, I'm stuck with this little booger having that little butthole right there, and that is all it has. It has one Type-C butthole, and that's all it has. Now, if you go conversely over to my I got them hidden now. Oh well, trying to do stuff on the fly here. But my much beloved older configuration, I can show you on basically the daily driver, smartphone. Essentially, I'm looking for a device that actually has a C port and a respective 1/8 phono jack, and it's going to be something that they call a TRRR, 3 R's. So what that means is essentially when you look at the plug has the end little nub, which is the ground. Then there's the left side, the right side for the headphones, and then the last one is the microphone input. Now, I've got, the infamous, what I refer to as my infamous cheat box here, which is a repurposed Swiss Army, tchotchke thing where you basically like break the springs or need the toothpicks or you need the pens and whatnot. I have adapters galore in this thing that I've scrabbled together just in case I need to make, some item fit with like, a micro or a mini or going from AA, which is a fat plug, going all the way down to even including, I've gone so far as to even have, the phrase is cute, but these are referred to as internet condoms. And what they are literally is it is a USB-A going to a USB-A. And what it does is it takes the logic side out of the equation on a USB plug. So it's power only. So there's a phrase that they basically certify as, the guy's sneaking it under the wire and say, you're in the airport, you need to charge your item, you plug it into the public thing to charge your stuff up, and then they have something called juice jacking. So what they literally do is they use that plug-in as a interface for you to plug your stuff in and infinitely, run the back door to get into your device. Obviously, you thought you were just getting power, but oh no, these guys hacked into your device by using the logic side of a USB plug. Now, a USB plug is actually 4 connectors. One is on the outside on the fence, and then there's 3 pins on the inside. So literally, this is ground, positive, and then 2 pins, which are logic. So translation, your input, your output, basically using that digital signal that it uses to talk to other stuff on the USB plug itself. That's juice jacking. Now, what this does is it turns off the logic by not having any connection whatsoever, and it is merely power. Now, if you go on Amazon and you basically just punch in internet condom or juice jacking, you'll find these guys, and they're cheap insurance. Have one of these things in your toolbox, because anywhere that you plug in, they cannot futz with your stuff. And literally all this has to do is you can even run an adapter into this and then plug your stuff into the other side, even with another adapter. All this does is it basically takes the logic side of that equation, and it is power only. So I got those as well. Anyway, to go roundy round, the S9 FE Plus, it doesn't have a phono jack. And I've tried doing the podcast with it, and it is literally all over the place. Now, you notice, like, even me doing stuff here, I'm gonna throw some sounds in here real fast, okay? So, sound guy, give me a second here. So, literally, I can talk, and I can throw sounds in, and I can throw sounds in, and it's not going, yeah, I can do the two sounds of me talking and the background noise, sound guy not doing something right now. Sound guy, stop. I hit the stop button. Anyway, so what it is when you're using a USB-C with a dongle, or an adapter that takes that, 1/8 phono jack and, basically turns it into a C configuration, you're taking an analog signal and you're changing it into a digital signal. Now, technically what's going to happen is when you are talking, putting in too much noise and what have you, and it starts, crackling and trying to, throttle things down, that is called peaking, and you're basically breaking through a quote-unquote sound gate. It's gated at a certain amount of decibels to when you go beyond that, it just goes woo, 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 and shuts it down. Now, the thing is, when you're running that interface between, 1/8 phono jack to C, I've tried every setting in the world. I've played with everything possible. And unless I literally was doing an input to like a little console and I could literally adjust the sound like on a soundboard and then do an actual input off of that, it's going to be sketch. So what I'm thinking here is, yes, it's a cool device. It's got a great picture on it. I'm thinking of actually taking it 2 steps back, and I'm going to take another look at another tablet. Case in point, do I need to unload that one to free up some funds? I don't know yet, but for some reason, that one was absolutely spot on perfect for taking trips. I do mean like actually like flying. Putting that thing in front of you with the screen size that it had, it was absolutely perfect to plop it on the tray on the, the seat back in front of me when I was flying. And so much so that I even had an unusual seat because things got really weird on one of the flights. They put a child in an egress line, which could never, ever happen. You have to be minimum 15 years of age to sit in the actual exit seat. Some person to pull the emergency door and get the passengers out that thing. That's not applicable. So the kid was underage. They had to move them around. I moved around. So we basically traded seats, juggled things around, what have you. So I had even more leg room and more space, plopping that thing on the tray. Spot on perfect. I was watching movies, playing video games. Obviously, I had, the Daily Driver playing, Japanese koto drum music as I was flying back from Texas. That was actually kind of fun. And, it was just a really good tool for the job. That said, to try to broadcast with it, you see I'm running potato here because I'm literally using one of the spare Note 9s that I do have in my stable. Now, I've also been looking at, an upgrade. Mrs. Dude has an S24 Ultra. Oh, my stars and garters. That thing is absolutely beyond sick. Yeah, thanks, sound guy. No, you're fine. You're fine. But we were sitting in Brooklyn on the cruise ship, every bit of 1.5 miles to almost 2 miles away from the Statue of Liberty, and I was cranking up the zoom on that thing and taking pictures, and I was getting really good, clean pictures of the face of the Statue of Liberty. So that sucker was spot on. Um, I don't even know what that is going on about in that thing. It's like popping up. Hey, ask a question. It's like no, that's just silly. Anyway, let's see. Getting into the room here real fast. Hang on one second here. Need a swig. Martina Sasquatch, you love Washington State. Got to see an F-15 at work and had the Night Stalkers flying over at treetop level. Yeah, there is some interesting stuff going on in Washington State. Anyway, Zach doing fuel pump on his truck right now, laying on my back on a gravel driveway. Ooh, dude. Zach, there's a trick that you can do. If you download the audio file, there is an audio file that is ultrasonic. You can't hear it. But what it does is it imitates the sound of dragonflies flying around with that ultrasonic pitch that their wings make. Supposedly mosquitoes are like, no bueno, no bueno. Get out of this area because there's dragonflies. We're going to get scarfed. So you can download that Soundfly, and you can even play it through your phone as you're laying down underneath something. I think I tried it once, and I forget if it worked really good or only partially good, but I do remember like doing that. Let's see. Sound guy was clearing his throat. Ah, man. Oh no. On the Patriot Fever side of things, Nurse Patriot being the care person and in charge of like health and items, and she's the one who's got the bug this time. Yipes. Oh, that sucks. Zach, the only other thing I can think of is citronella candles. Supposedly mosquitoes absolutely hate, absolutely hate citronella. Mrs. Dude can't stand it. It actually makes her sick. So she, sound guy, sound. Okay. Sound guy uses the SWAT and splat method for mosquitoes. Thank you so much for that helpful tip, sound guy. I have no clue what. Well, you know what? If you think about it, it has so much booze in its bloodstream. I'm sure the mosquitoes are just like trying to take off, and they're just hammered, going, "Nope, no more for me, thanks. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need nope, don't need any more. If I take another bite out of this guy, I will not be able to fly." Yeah. All right. So anyway, let me get my stack of stuff lined up here. I have been doing scads of memes, just me being, particularly snarky, and I'm going to be even more snarky concerning Artemis. I'll get into that in a little bit, but let me scrolly, and get myself online with where we are currently. Let's see. Scroll some more. Scroll. Okay, yeah, I think this will work. Let me see. Was this one I needed to mute? See, the problem is sometimes when you post stuff over from X to Facebook, they really, really, really don't like it. Let's see. What was this one again? Okay, that was they're making fun of like something TSA related. I wonder if I got into this one. No, okay, I can get into these. I don't think I got into these last week. I mean, they're not quite so timely. They're only probably a week old, but I can get into these now and let you guys know what the skinny is. But on Facebook, supposedly Mark Zuckerberg's finally realized that pouring money into the thing doesn't flipping work when nobody uses it. So the metaverse is finally getting shut down, and nobody, and I do mean really nobody, used it. Even worse than his thing about Threads. And that was literally just yeah, it was truly liberal S hit bag. Yeah, nobody was using this thing. So they declared it as profitable, but untenable. Okay, so if something is profitable, you usually continue to do it. If it's not so profitable, that's probably when you're going to stop doing it. So the metaverse is now going bye bye, and for good reason. Nobody wanted it. Mark Zuckerberg tried to shove it down everybody's throat, and it really truly didn't have much of a life of its own, other than the notoriety of him going, "Hey, look at my thing." It was weak. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. Oh, yes. You know, Patriot Fever, it is not hard to find, jets flying overhead sound files, okay? That's just one of those ones. I don't think he's done it yet. So just give him time, okay? Jets, sound guy. Jets. 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 We're talking jets, okay? No. Okay, you are recording the wrong kind of takeoff sounds. Dude, seriously? Yeah, I don't know what runway he's sitting on, but it probably stinks like you don't want to know. Yeah, nice. Anyway, hope you guys heard about this one or not. Somebody been racking up some really, really icky karma on this one, but supposedly the owner of OnlyFans has died of terminal cancer. The owner of it was a guy by the name of Leonid Radvinsky, and he supposedly cranked this thing up where chicks can go, "Hey, look at my various bits and pieces. Throw me money. Look at my various bits and pieces." I got really, really, really bad news for you guys. If you go on the internet and you're posting the most innocuous search parameters, you will find scads of nudity. It is not even hard to find nudity. Just give me 1 second here. I might have regaled you guys with this tale once or twice before, but there was a time where I was working for this one guy, read 90s. I mean, we're talking 90s, and I started working for him again, on the cusp of 2000. And he was on the home computer, read the office computer. He was running the shop out of his house. And he was like, "I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. I can't even put my wife's name into the internet without looking at naked girls." And I'm like, "You're saying that like it's a problem?" He goes, No. I should be able to put my wife's name into the internet without problems like this." And I was like, "And your wife's name is?" And he goes, "It's Sheila." And I was like, "Okay, Sheila in Australian means loose woman or slut. My wife's not like that at all." It's like, yeah, but if you say that name in Australia, it means something else entirely in Australia. So you putting her name on the internet made you go over and start looking at Australian poontang. Sorry. Yeah, we were laughing about that one. So they're calling it terminal cancer now. What happened to the monkey? What monkey? Oh no, no, sound guy, don't do. Hang on a second here. How did this guy actually get involved and get? Okay, I don't think it went like that, sound guy. There's nothing in this article about monkeys there, Patriot Fever. Nothing at all. But let's just say if it happened,
Come on, squeal.
check out his site with monkey stuff like this.
monkey.
Okay, that monkey was not having a very good day at all. Oh, no, stop, stop. Oh, jeez. I don't even want to get into that last one there, sound guy. But let's just say, if dude was involved with the monkey, oof, oof. And I can't play Shock the Monkey because I'm sure there's going to be like some kind of copyright hit going, you can't play Peter Gabriel Shock the Monkey or else blah, blah, blah. Calling it terminal cancer. Okay. Well, anyway, it was a secret and long battle with cancer. At the age of only 43. I'm thinking dude was a little bit more karmically cursed than most people doing it to that degree. I do know that somebody else bought, picked up, got a hold of, or they now control OnlyFans. So that's not going anywhere. So everybody can get their well, they're not sound guy. They're not getting monkey feces.
Come on, squeal, squeal.
Sure. Are you done?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these mother on this mother plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some windows.
Monkeys and cats. Patriot Fever. I blame you for this. You got him started. You got him started. Okay, if you do that again, sound guy, I am going to. You know what I'm going to do.
Fact check.
Oh, I'm not going to fact check beep, but I'm definitely going to hit the stop button. Okay, stop. All right, are you done for the moment? Done. Done. I guess that means done. Wow. All right, if you guys hadn't heard about it, the steaming pile known as I got to clean this up so much on the way I posted this up on Facebook, but the Starfleet Academy show. Okay, here's the messed up part. They're now locked into this steaming turd for another season. So that means Paramount is pissing down a rat hole, another $100 million that they could have been expending on something else, but they are stuck with it. So the steaming pile of woke-tarded dog mess is finally getting the axe, but you're stuck making a second season, whizzing away your capital in a failed dogmatic insertion of cultural change. You a-holes shoved it in our faces, propped up by the most leftist of intentions, and the people said simply, no. Hope you enjoyed cutting every check of failed libtardation as Ellison gets even more pissed off with your dumbassery. Time to fire a second round of photon reality torpedoes. The critical drinker absolutely wreaked mayhem upon this TV show. So much so that he did another video on YouTube like a week later saying, I was valiant, I kicked his butt. And he's actually Britain. So he really, truly made Paramount just go, oh, S-hit. Yeah, they really, truly got their comeuppance on that one. Oh, Martinez Sasquatch. He loves the critical drinker. Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I've never really subscribed to his channel, and I've never really seen anything by him previously. But considering the cultural upheaval of everybody going, oh, just yes, just golf clap, sir, golf clap, just yes, on par, yes. He absolutely skewered them so perfectly on point that it was just amazing to behold. He absolutely. Are you done, sound guy? Okay. So anyway, this Star Trek. Yeah, it's just. Wow. I mean, just wow. I would say I don't think I've seen something more DEI centrist, just abhorrent to basic premise of even like good execution. And I do mean like the virtue signaling in this show is so unbelievably over the top. I mean, it's like you have two, well, I know they say body positivity people. I would say people who are chunky, okay? And that's being polite. They are chunky. In a military execution or in a naval execution, those guys really don't do so good because they're going to be saying, okay, we have physical testing. You have to pass these things. Trust me, it's not fun. It's really not fun when you got to do a mile and a half in 15 minutes, and that's the bottom rung. And if you're scoring out really low on other stuff, you better hop to on other testing acumen items, and you're not going to do well. So anyway, Critical Drinker absolutely skewered it. Paramount, you have this steaming turd for another season. You guys are just no, sound guy, it's bigger. No, it's much bigger. I don't know about that one, dude. I don't know about it, but it is a steaming
Fatality.
Okay, I don't know about a steaming fatality, but it's just, yeah, it's really. Well, no, previous one. Yeah, it's really that.
Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face.
Why the f*** did you do that?
I didn't mean to do it. It was an accident.
You dick.
He farted in Marvin's face. Okay, he and I need to get together for his soundbite execution, okay? Heesh. Oh, no. Oh, man. Martinez Sasquatch, I'm going to leave that one in the chat room, but I'm sure he's going to find it and say, no, he's not going to say that, sound guy.
Oh my.
He might just find that one. Wow. Okay. Yeah, he might be looking for that one. Dang. Why does he have the cap lock on there? Stop that. That's part of the problem sometimes. He has cap locks on things. Let's see. I got this one. Give me 1 second here. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Hang on. I know what I'm looking for. I just want to find it. Give me 1 second here. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it was one of these.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Yeah, that one.
Why? It's spicy.
I've fallen.
I have no clue where he got that one from. It's not a gas station sushi. The gas station sushi. Yeah, the gas station sushi. All you got to do is follow this, the smell of rank and nasty.
Come on, squeal.
Don't want to come. Do not come.
She's gone from suck to blow.
Do not come.
Okay, I don't know how you're shooting a laser out of that. Ugh. Anyway, I do think this is really one of those funny byline stories that really, truly points out how things can actually work better. So the Democrats, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they're not going to fully fund ICE. Well, I think it was a masterstroke on Trump's part to go, okay, the TSA guys aren't being fully funded. We want to get people through these airports and make it work. I know I have ICE guys that are being paid. I'll place them in the airports, and immediately the screaming Mimiites on the left are like, oh, no, they're not trained on how to be TSA agents. Dude, I think they know how to look at an ID and go, yeah. And you probably need to get a secondary check. So they call the guy in, and they go, oh, yeah, by the way, since you're going out of country, here's your GTFOH paperwork, and do not return. So the thing about it is by putting the ICE agents in the airports, it expedited the lines. So Atlanta, which is positively the busiest airport on these United States and also in the world, functioned much better after placing TSA guys aside of ICE guys. Future audiences, a 5th grade maturity week of the show focusing on Ronch and Dookie. Tune in next week for better political sarcasm. Hey, there's plenty of political sarcasm here, okay? I can be perfectly sarcastic. Anytime. I don't have to, stop that. I got plenty of sarcasm to go around. We can simply just march forward. You was waiting for this. Stop that sound, guy. Oh, jeez. He's going into the cartoon stuff again. Anyway. Stop that. The name is... He's out of office. Stop. I'm going to have to go through the sound files with him and say, don't play with this one. Don't play with that one. Take this one out. We're not utilizing it any longer. And goodbye. Especially that sucky machine gun sound. Oh, Live for Jesus Mother 2. How you doing? Appreciate you coming on by. So anyway, going through the Atlanta airport was hellaciously bad. And that's being polite. So anyway, putting the ICE guys right beside the TSA guys made the process better, and it worked. Now, I can tell you as a practicing professional Uber driver, I was dropping off people down to Baltimore Washington International Airport, and the difference between the one day to the other day, oh, my stars and garters. I was dropping the people off on Sunday morning, like early a.m., going into I think my last drop off was like 7:30ish or so before I decided to knock off for the night. And I was like getting ready to drop them off, and I'm like, I am so sorry. And they're like, we know, we planned for this. That's why we're 4 hours early. We planned for this. But to put it in perspective, the line of people was like about probably like 7 to 9 people wide, with this band of people going like all the way around Southwest, going around into other areas. And BWI Southwest is 1/8 of the airport. Now, if you look at BWI from up above, it's basically a U. All it does is it basically makes like, about a 270 degrees, go back to itself kind of a deal. And on that 270 degree thing is 4 piers. So piers A, B, C, D, like fingers on your hand. Southwest sticks out that way at the end of A, and there's some other little, sprockets sticking off a little bit more. But once you're in the secured side of that airport, it's really easy to navigate. That said, there was probably more people outside that airport than inside that airport, and oh, mommy, it was bad. Wow. Sound guy, don't make a sick mother of 2 on you. Well, let's just say if she's got kids, she knows how to handle them. Come here, you. Grab him by the ear. But yeah, that definitely was a major difference between Sunday morning to Monday morning. Wowzers. It was so bad. Scrolly. This is ridiculous enough as it is. All I can say is that the city is running the reconstruction of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now, if you look at Baltimore from above, it's really, basically you have the city itself, kind of has like the Chesapeake Bay kind of leading off to one side. And obviously that's the water side is obviously where the docks are. And then the Inner Harbor area is kind of like a little branch off to that. But the bridge was the inlet way for boats to come in and out of the shipping areas and obviously in and out of the Inner Harbor. So once that boat knocked that bridge down, took a while to get that stuff out of there. It took a while for the waterway to open back up. And the prospective build time for the new bridge was only supposed to be 3 to 4 years max. Like tearing down the old stuff, starting up with the new, putting everything up, bing, bang, boom, cutting the ribbon, 3 to 4 years. Well, it's not the case anymore. They said initially it was only going to be $2 billion and 3 to 4 years. Well, the city got a hold of it. And of course, now they basically said, we got all this money.
It's spicy.
Yeah, we have all this money and it's spicy. Because now we can actually run the contracts out. We have all these guys that are union guys. It's going to cost way too much money. We're going to bring in way more bureaucrats. And the whole kerfuffle is going to take blanking forever now to happen. So, this is a story coming in from a page that I follow on Facebook called Donald Trump for President. And it says, embarrassing. 2 years after Baltimore's Key Bridge collapse, Democrats still can't build a dang thing. It's been exactly 2 years since the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore was smashed by our cargo ship, killing 6 and crippling the port. Back then, Biden's team rushed out promises, rebuild for a measly $1.7 billion, and it would have it open by 2028. Remember that part where I said the city is doing the build? So fast forward to today. The price tag has exploded to as high as $5.2 billion, more than triple the original estimate. The new opening date, late 2030. That's 2 full years later than promised, with nothing but cranes, barges, and a few test piles driven into the ground to show for it. Drone footage reveals the sad reality. Remnant piers are still sticking out of the Patapsco River like a monument to government failure. So Democrat leadership in Maryland and the feds turned a straightforward infrastructure fix into another bloated boondoggle, endless environmental reviews, design changes for resilience, the skyrocketing material costs, and the red tape that would make a private contractor quit on day one. Meanwhile, Blue City incompetence keeps piling up, union deals, no-show jobs, excuses galore while families grieve and truckers reroute. That's the thing. To get around that side of Baltimore would be the short way to get back to the interstate. What these guys are now forced to do, because you can't take hazmat through the tunnels, is they either have to cut through the city, or, the best part, they have to go 41 miles around the Baltimore Beltway to get back to Interstate 95 on the other side of the city. Because Interstate 95 literally cuts about a third of the city from like one corner all the way up to another corner, and it finally exposes itself into the county area. But it does snip off a corner of the city, and the city is like, oh joy, we get to run the process. Yeah, you get to run the process. So contrast that with red states where bridges and roads get fixed fast and under budget. That isn't progress. It's proof that big government Democrats couldn't manage a lemonade stand, let alone America's infrastructure. Taxpayers foot the bill while Baltimore stays broken. Enough is enough. Time to drain the swamp and actually get things built again. I was saying that since the thing happened. Oh, geez, I hope the feds get this and not the city. Why? Because the city is run by bloody incompetent bureaucrats who only want to throw money at their buddies. Just give me 1 second. Could be said that it is pretty much... Yeah, thanks, sound guy. It's full on full. Yeah, it is just... full on caca. Guys heard about like how bad we got it for gas prices? Not nearly as bad as the Aussies do. Yes. Australia now has a fuel crisis. 500 gas stations ran dry. Hundreds of fuel stations across New South Wales, so the southeast corner, and Victoria, a little bit north of there, have run out of fuel as panic buying collides with government supply shocks from the Middle East conflict. NSW, or New South Wales, reports that 289 to 313 stations missing at least one fuel type, with 164 to 187 out of diesel. Australia runs on diesel. Victoria has 162 affected. The crunch spreads to Queensland, South Australia, and beyond, hitting roughly 8 to 10% of the outlets nationwide. Australia imports about 90% of its refined petrol and diesel after closing most heavily domestic refineries over the last decade. Why? Politicians and eco-geeks. Yeesh. Yeesh. That leaves the country heavily exposed when disruptions hit Asian suppliers, provide the bulk of imports via routes tied to the Middle East oil flow. Government insists overall national stocks remain adequate until mid-April, and then blames much of the empty pumps on panic buying rather than total shortage. Dude, if I'm looking at gas prices increasing like, 30 to 40%, I am going to stockpile at least a few hundred gallons on my property. I don't care what they say about, oh, you're pulling in too much of your own and stashing it. Nah. Yeah, call it gouging, call it what you will. I'm going to have mine ready just in case. Critics point out the vulnerability was predictable. Decades of policy decisions left Australia with just 2 operating refineries. 2. Turning a distant geopolitical flare-up into empty gas tanks at home. Situation echoes a classic supply chain frugality. Fear drives hoarding, which worsens the very shortage people dread. For now, no rationing is on the table, but regional areas and transport-heavy sectors are feeling the pinch first. Drivers are being urged to fill up normally and avoid jerry cans. Right. Avoid jerry cans. Whether this message sticks as tensions linger overseas, we'll decide if this stays a messy inconvenience and turns into something much worse. Folks, all you got to do is watch the Mad Max movies and you pretty much get a hang on what's going on. Almost. Except for they don't have the kind of firearms and stuff like they did in Mad... Never mind. That's a whole other story. Scrolly. This is really, really cool. So a congressman, let's see if I can't find this story as like something to make it work here. I'm trying to figure out where this is. Hang on 1 second here. So this is Central Virginia. Came in from a news station. And it says, Congressman John McGuire has introduced legislation that would allow people to get wounded in gun-free zones to sue the government, saying, you denied me my opportunity to protect myself. That is cool. Patriot Fever, Mad Max in real life, cool. Yeah, that would be. It would be. I don't know about the guys running around with the cut out seats in their pants and leather and Lord Humongous and all the some of that stuff doesn't sound so good. I don't know if you guys saw this one or not. But, hang on a second. I got this one, sound guy. I got this one. So we are now going to be talking about, of all things, something.
SYZPDQOU812.
You've got mail.
Yeah, so we're now going to be talking about probably one of the most brain dud Chuck Schumer brain fart persons ever. This guy is just unbelievable.
SYZPDQOU812.
Oops, I dropped my gerbil.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, this guy. Yeah. So we're not going to be talking about somebody who's looking for no. No, they're going to be looking for.
Oops, I dropped my gerbil.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
You've got mail.
I stopped that. Wow. Anyway, there's a new story out that there is a team. I don't know who thought this would be really, really good, but of all places, Nashville, they have a hockey team. The name of the hockey team is called the Predators. Not a great name to begin with. So what did this brain dead Chuck Schumer brained person do? They thought it'd be amazing to put pride rainbows on stuff. I don't know how this comes across in the office. Like, you're shilling this to your boss going, hey, what do you think about Pride Day for Predators? Dude, that is...
Commentary. Yeah.
Yeah, that is just... Stop that. I do not need to get copyright hit for X-Files, okay? Do not need that, okay? But when you're talking about...
You've got mail.
I don't know. No, it's not you got mail, sound guy. Okay, well, anyway, so the Nashville Predator Pride thing.
SYZPDQOU812.
You've got mail.
Okay, I don't know who's got mail or who's stop sound guy. Stop. I don't know who's got mail, but wow.
SYZPDQOU812.
Okay, that was possibly the most obtuse way of looking at anything and going, oh, that'll fly just fine. We will have the Nashville Predators Pride Day. Dude, no. Even the gay guys are like, oh, no. I'm sure they were like, oh, no. Yeah, even the gay guys were probably like, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Yeah, I'm sure they were bailing out like rats off the Titanic. Even they didn't want any part of that one, man. Scrolly. This one, you cannot do it except for simply just expressing it for how it is. This is bloody freaking hilarious. So there was a protester. And this person was wearing a t-shirt that orange, mind you, a orange t-shirt that said, "Arrest Trump, not migrants." Well, there's a story coming in from the Daily Caller. So supposedly a No Kings protester wearing a quote unquote "Arrest Trump" t-shirt was being snarky and got arrested. The irony is just thick here, man. I swear the irony is just thick. I'm going to be a little snarky on my own accord here. And it's because I am literally a space geek. And I really am like beholden to like space technology, space flight, the technologies involved. Obviously, you know, the amazing leaps and bounds that we made, the things that we've done. And of course, NASA doing it the most expensive way possible with your tax dollars. Yipes. So, it's now coming out that, you know, they're going to be redoing a mission. And I'm being charitable here, folks. But they're redoing a mission that they did back in 1968. Where they said, okay, we need to test the Apollo capsule. We need to see if it'll support people. We need to see if our guidance systems are good enough. We need to see if our launch envelopes are safe. We need to see if our recovery items are going to work. We need to know all through the whole pantheon of the technologies involved to get people out and bring them back from the moon. 240,000 miles one way. So before we put people on the moon in, I think it was the latter part of 1969, I think Mrs. Dude was saying they missed her birthday. I think it was like mid-year. I think it was like, you know, June, July, something like that. I forget the exact month, but it was 1969 where we had guys first set foot on the moon. 1968, we were testing the Apollo spacecraft and, of course, the launch vehicle, the recovery, and all that fun stuff by sending a capsule out with people on board, 3 guys, sent them out to the moon. They went out to the moon, did a bunch of orbits, and it's okay, time to break the gravity well and get back to Earth. Now, the gravity well itself is kind of one of those kind of cool things. It means literally you go at a planet and you skim around the outside. You can actually do something called a slingshot. So say you're moving at like, you know, 15 to 20,000 miles an hour. You go around the planet, you catch a slingshot, you get accelerated. You basically get a quick kick off the gravity that's on the planet, spinning you around faster until you break off again. So the gravity on the moon is 1/6 the gravity of Earth. So what they did was they obviously launched out of Earth, got to the moon, got captured by the moon's gravity well, and were circling around the moon for a number of times, and then came back. So what they're intending to do with this Artemis thing is they're intending to actually, yet again, put people on the moon, but it's bigger, it has more capability, modern technology, still built probably by the lowest price contractor. That's the military about that one. Anyway, mil-spec doesn't mean good. It just means cheapest guy making it within these specifications. That's mil-spec. So anyway, what they're going to do with Artemis is they're going to send it out. It's going to go to the moon, and they're saying it's going to go far. NASA's saying this. It's going to go farther than any human being has ever been away from planet Earth. Okay, technically, yes. But all they're doing is they're going out on a bigger orbit around the moon. They're not going out farther than going, making a U-turn and coming back. Okay? They're literally just making a bigger circle, lunar orbit to then go, see, we're out farther. We've done it. We're out further than any human being has ever been before. So I've been bagging on this thing simply because they're going, this is such an amazing thing. This, that, and the other. It's like, dude, we did it back in 1968, okay? We did it when I was just a wee lad. So it's not like we haven't been there, but, 60 years ago almost. So stop bragging that you're doing all this great stuff until you actually put people back on the moon again and do stuff that we couldn't do before. So putting out this mission and saying, we're going to go so much further than anybody else has ever been in, until you put them out to the Mars area, they're still in the same neighborhood, okay? You put them out another couple thousand miles further, that technically is farther than any human being's ever been before, but not like a big deal to talk about. Okay? That's like saying, well, you know, I drove another 20 miles on the same tank of gas. Wow, I really got some serious range out of this thing. That's literally all it is. It's they're a little further away from the moon to say, we're so much farther than before. Sorry, not hugely impressed. And also with all the major problems they've been having with this Artemis thing, wow. Just wow. I am going to recreate a video I did years and years ago. Mrs. Dude is out of town, so I actually have some lead on being able to do this. So I'm deciding to recreate the stomach destruction testing video again. So this will be stomach destruction testing video Mark II. And I got myself some low reduced sodium MREs, and I'm going to give it a whirl. So what did I get? Some of these are not the most appealing, but I'm going to work with it. Penne with vegetables, sausage, crumbles, and spicy tomato sauce. Don't read the ingredients. Trust me on that one. And the other thing that's nice about this one is I got to pop the peepers on. It is a low sodium MRE, which is really saying something. Because most of the times, those things have so much salt in them, they're making slugs go, ah! This one has, for the entree, only has 180 milligrams of sodium. That's low. That's really low. Second one going down the pipe is going to be cheese tortellini in tomato sauce. That one only has 300 milligrams of sodium. They're actually rather heavy, too. I was kind of surprised. This one, of course, being a chili macaroni and beef and sauce. This one having 320 milligrams of sodium. Last one coming down the chute is going to be, and this one really kind of makes me go, why? This one is a spaghetti with meat and textured soy flour sauce. Textured soy. But as a bonus, it does actually have a Tootsie Roll on board and a Pop-Tart, which I'm really not crazy about because that contains high fructose corn syrup. But for you guys, for the channel, I'll eat it. Although I'm not crazy about it, okay? I am looking forward, though, to, Combat Mocha, where you basically mix the coffee and the hot chocolate. That is premium shiznit. I believe those have those in there. I do not know if these have FRHs on board. Worst case, the easiest way to heat an MRE, and I've done this before actually, just like experimentation. Obviously, the boiling water trick, that works fine. In the military, one of the other tricks we used to do is we'd have an ammo can on the exhaust manifold of a vehicle. We would mount that on there, dump some water in there. It would stay warm. It wouldn't stay like boiling hot, but it would get pretty warm. And you would throw your retort pouches in there, and obviously as you're driving around or keeping the engine idling, because it's cold out, it would warm the MREs up. Of course, you do not open the retort pouches. The other trick that you can do, obviously, is, one of the tricks I did just messing around was to see if it did work, is I took a propane torch, MAP torch, which one I had at the time, and I basically held the retort pouch and just drew the flame over both sides of the retort pouch, waited for a sec, did it again, and I made sure I wasn't too close and I was like cooking, the obvious, retort pouch and ruining its, seal, as it were, or putting in too much of the gag that's in the plastic into the food. Now, the thing about it is the retort pouches themselves, they are not light duty, man. Those things are built hell for stout. Similar technology, obviously, is what they're setting up to the guys in space, and it works. It's basically a can that's flat, so it does work. Should Dude a homemade new for stomach destruction? See if Sound Guy holds his. Sound Guy. I don't know, man. It remains to be seen on that one whether Sound Guy can. I don't know. He probably wants a liquid lunch. That's what it is with Sound Guy. Sound Guy likes a liquid lunch. Preferably, his idea of a 7-course meal is a potato and a 6-pack. That's his idea of eating St. Patty's Day. But anyway, on that regard, that's where we are with that one. So I'll be doing a recreation on that one, and we'll move out smartly, good stuff like that there. Coming up on the 1-hour time period. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me and good stuff. Let's see, anything going on? Also, he's on the music. All right, well, anyway. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. You got many other things to do. You got a gold star for attendance. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. I usually do review in the chat room because the last time I was looking at it, oh my stars and garters, I was laughing myself silly at some of the stuff I didn't miss because it was just scrolling through. But anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Good stuff like that there. I will see you guys next week unless we put out something sooner. Stomach destruction testing 2.0 Mark II, call it what you will. I'll be doing that, post up videos and stuff like that there. I will see you then. So eat good considering as always, you know you love it. I will see you guys next week and good stuff. MREs. How good can they be? Hot sauce. Always hot sauce. See you guys. Peace.